3:51 a.m. Chester County Prison, Berwyn, Pennsylvania. The night shift guard makes his routine pass. Cell D14. Occupied. Count confirmed. He doesn't look up. He doesn't need to. No one has ever walked out of this yard alive. 46 minutes later, a rooftop camera catches movement. A shape, small, fast, low to the wall surface. Not walking, crawling, not along the ground. Up a 20-foot vertical wall. By 4:17 a.m., Danelo Cavalcante, 5 feet tall, 120 pounds, has cleared the roof of the exercise area. He is threading through razor wire with his bare hands. He drops to the other side. He walks into the dark. It will take 2 weeks, 300 officers, a military-grade drone network, and a thermal imaging aircraft to find him again. This is what security analysts called a 0% probability escape. Here's exactly how he did it. Chester County Prison opened in 1975. It was retrofitted, expanded, and hardened over 5 decades. By 2023, it held approximately 450 inmates. The security profile is not maximum security federal. It is a county facility. Pretrial detainees, awaiting sentence. That distinction matters. County jails were not built to hold killers waiting out appeals. The perimeter system consists of 3 primary layers. First, the inner yard walls. Concrete, vertical, smooth-faced. These walls stand 20 feet from the yard floor to the roof ledge. Second, the exercise yard roof access point. A low-slope flat roof. Third, the razor wire array atop the outer wall. Now, here's the problem. The exercise area roof was partially accessible from the yard. Inmates were permitted yard time in a walled enclosure adjacent to the building. The roof of that enclosure was the gap in the system. Surveillance coverage used a combination of fixed CCTV cameras and roving guard patrols on a scheduled rotation. Scheduled rotation, not randomized. Cavalcante knew the schedule. The camera angles had coverage blind spots in the upper wall zone. Cameras were positioned to monitor activity at ground level. A man 6 feet off the ground would appear only in the camera edge frame. A man 15 feet up was effectively invisible to the system. County Sheriff Fredda Maginnis confirmed this in her public statement. The cameras, she said, were not designed for vertical coverage. They were not designed for a man who could climb walls. One more critical detail. In June 2023, a different inmate, Igor Bolt, escaped the same way. He crab walked up the same wall. He was caught hours later. The gap was documented. The gap was not closed. Cavalcante was housed in the same unit. He had watched Igor Bolt do it. Danelo Cavalcante arrived at Chester County Prison in August 2023. He had been convicted of first-degree murder. He stabbed Deborah Brandeo 38 times in front of her children. He was awaiting sentencing. He knew what was coming. Life. No parole. Pennsylvania. He had nothing to lose. He had also done this before. In 2017, Cavalcante escaped from a prison in Brazil after a murder charge. He fled to the United States. He built a life. He killed again. The man in cell D14 was not a first-time escapee. He was a professional at disappearing. Understand who this man was physically. 5 feet tall, 120 pounds. A body built like a wrench. Compact, dense, functional. No excess. No weight he didn't need. In physics, the force required to hold a body on a vertical surface scales directly with mass. Less mass, less force required. Cavalcante's body was a tool. His weight was the advantage. So, the plan. What tools does a 5-foot man need to scale a 20-foot concrete wall? None. That is the answer that stunned investigators. No rope, no grappling hook, no homemade harness, no tools at all. Cavalcante used a technique called crab walking. Here is what that means in precise mechanical terms. In a narrow corner, where 2 walls meet at a right angle, a person can create a compression system using opposing surfaces. Back braced flat against one wall, feet pressed against a facing surface. The body becomes a horizontal beam under compression. Friction holds the position. Body weight drives the grip. To ascend, shift the back upward an inch. Rebrace. Shift the feet upward an inch. Rebrace. Repeat. Every repetition. Approximately 2 inches of altitude gained. To cover 20 feet. Roughly 120 repetitions. A trained climber executes this in under 90 seconds. Rock climbers call it chimney technique. It is taught in every intermediate climbing course in the world. It requires no equipment. It requires only a gap the right width and a body small enough to fill it. The exercise yard at Chester County Prison had that gap. The northwest corner, yard wall meets building access wall. Approximately 22 inches between opposing surfaces. Cavalcante's shoulder width, approximately 16 inches. 6 inches of clearance. Exactly enough to move. Not enough for a larger man. Not enough for a guard to follow. He did not improvise this on a single night. The preparation took weeks. Possibly the entire time he was housed there. He used yard time to study the corner geometry. He timed guard rotations. Counted minutes between passes. He identified camera angle dead zones from inmate yard positions. He watched what guards watched. He watched what they didn't. He practiced a movement in his cell. Cell walls at Chester County, approximately 8 feet apart. Too wide for chimney climbing. But he practiced a limb sequence. Back, feet, shift, rebrace, shift, rebrace. He built the muscle memory before he needed it. He also watched Igor Bolt. June 2023. Bolt scaled the same wall, the same corner. Cavalcante witnessed it or learned about it from other inmates. Bolt was recaptured hours later, but the method had been validated. The wall could be climbed. The corner was the key. The only question was timing. One final preparation element. The backpack. A small personal bag containing food, a change of clothes, and a pair of wireframe glasses. Pre-positioned in the yard during a prior exercise period. Not hidden. Sitting against the wall. Apparently forgotten. Guards noted it. Assumed it belonged to another inmate. Left it. Now, the one unavoidable obstacle. The razor wire crown at the top of the outer wall. Standard concertina configuration. 1,050 blade points per meter. Coil diameter. Approximately 450 millimeters when expanded. Gap between coil loops when installed. 60 to 80 millimeters. Wide enough to thread a forearm through at the correct angle. Not wide enough to do it without contact. Contact means lacerations. He accepted that. He planned his arm rotation to minimize arterial exposure. He chose pain over capture. August 31st, 2023. 3 days after sentencing was formally confirmed. 3 days after Danelo Cavalcante understood that no appeal was coming. He chose this night deliberately. Guard rotation begins. Officer clears the housing wing. Moves on. Timestamp logged. 3:51 a.m. Cavalcante is already awake. Has been for hours. He has been awake every night this week at this hour. Counting. Measuring. Waiting for the rotation to become muscle memory. Tonight, he moves. 3:54 a.m. His cell door has a malfunctioning latch, documented in a maintenance report, not yet repaired. He pushes it open from the inside. No noise, no force. The door swings wide on its own weight. He steps into the corridor. White t-shirt, green pants, sneakers. He moves along the wall. Low, slow, unhurried. Urgency attracts cameras. Calm does not. He reaches the exercise yard access point. The door to the yard is not locked from the inside during evening hours. It is a detail buried in the post-escape audit, a policy gap. He steps into the open yard. Pennsylvania night air. Concrete underfoot. Sodium lamps wash the ground in orange. The corners are dark. He moves to the northwest corner. Retrieves the backpack. Slips it on. Tightens the straps. He cannot have it shift mid-climb. He looks up at the wall. 20 feet. Smooth concrete. Dark corner. He has studied this geometry for weeks. He knows exactly where to put his back, his feet, his hands. He presses into corner. He begins. CCTV analysis later reconstructs the ascent frame by frame. At the 20-second mark, he is 8 feet off the ground. At the 40-second mark, he is 14 feet up, past the camera angle threshold. At the 55-second mark, he reaches the roof ledge. Under 60 seconds. From yard floor to rooftop, the wall that was supposed to stop him took less than a minute. He rolls over the ledge. Flat, silent. He lies still for 3 seconds. Listening. No alarm. No movement. No shouts. He rises. Crosses the tar and gravel rooftop. Every footstep on gravel is a potential sound. He walks the edge instead. The roof perimeter has a thin concrete lip. Quieter. Firmer. He reaches the outer perimeter wall. Same technique. Same corner. Same method. A different wall. This one is slightly higher. The surface is more worn. More dust. Worn concrete offers slightly less friction. He adjusts his foot pressure. He compensates. The backpack shifts slightly. He stops. Recenters it. Resumes. This climb takes longer. 80 seconds. 85 seconds. At the 70-second mark, he is within reach of the razor wire crown. He can see the coil from below. Silver in the sodium light. He slows. This is the moment. The part that should be physically impossible. 1,050 razor points per meter. Deployed in a full coil. Contact at speed causes deep lacerations. At pressure, worse. He doesn't go through it at speed. He goes through it slowly, deliberately, one limb at a time. He identifies a gap between 2 coil loops where the wire spreads. He pushes his right forearm through the gap, rotating it to lead with the radius bone. The bone protects the radial artery underneath. The blades cut, multiple shallow lacerations across the forearm surface. He does not stop. He threads his left arm through a second gap. Same rotation. Same cuts. He pulls his torso through. His legs follow. His right calf catches a coil. A deeper cut. He pulls free. He is through. He hangs from the outer wall's top edge. The outside face. Below him, soft Pennsylvania ground cover, approximately 12 feet. He releases, falls, absorbs the drop through bent knees, rolls, stands, bleeding from both forearms and one calf. He does not run. Running is visible. Running is noise. Running attracts pattern recognition. He walks north, fast but controlled, into the suburban dark. White t-shirt, green pants, bleeding, free. For 17 a.m., a camera catches movement on the rooftop. Too late. For 19 a.m., a guard checks cell D14. The cell is empty. The bed has been shaped to look occupied from a standing angle. A bunch blanket, a pillow pushed to one end. He had prepared that too. The alarm goes out at 4:19 a.m. Cavalcante has a 10-minute head start on the entire system. In 10 minutes, walking at 3.5 miles per hour, over half a mile of ground, in the dark, in a residential area, in clothes that look civilian. He is gone. The manhunt that followed became the largest in Pennsylvania state history. Over 300 law enforcement officers were deployed. The U.S. Marshals Service, PA State Police, Border Patrol tactical units. A military-grade thermal imaging aircraft flew 24-hour grid patterns. Cavalcante survived for 14 days. He foraged. He broke into garages. He stole food and a rifle. He changed clothes. He moved only at night. He stayed within a 5-mile radius of the prison. A tactical error. The forest he trusted became his cage. On September 13th, 2023, at approximately 8 a.m., a thermal imaging drone detected a heat signature in dense brush. A police dog breached the undergrowth. Cavalcante was bitten. He was subdued. He was taken into custody. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. He is currently held at SCI Phoenix, a maximum security state facility. Smooth walls, no corners, no gaps, randomized patrols. The warden at Chester County Prison resigned. A structural audit identified 11 separate security failures. The wall corner has since been modified. But the question remains on the record. A documented escape, a documented gap, a documented failure to act. And a convicted killer walked out in the dark. These are real walls, real stakes, real consequences. This is Big Crime Update.